Reasonably busy day today, as I had a super busy day yesterday in which I watched a few films and all of them were good. Got to say, enjoyed everything that I watched yesterday, which is one, a surprise, but two, uh, it's great. I felt pretty let down by the film industry, I guess, recently. So watching three films in a row that I in which I enjoyed all of them is a good thing. The first one was Sting. Um, Now Sting, obviously, like my beliefs on the Hollywood system is that it is a way for people to be controlling shit and selling shit. Um, However, some adverts can be enjoyable, can't they? I would think that what this is, I mean, I guess we'll get to that afterwards. The first thing that I thought of when I saw the name Sting was Sting and the Police. That band who sang that song, Every Step You Take, Every Breath You Make, I'll Be Watching You, that song that P. Diddy covered when Biggie died. Um, which not good. And also let me know way back when that P. Diddy was not a good person, but seemingly it took everybody else until a few months ago. Um, so yeah, Sting was decent. I mean, funnily enough as well, I reviewed Abigail the day before and I thought that that was utter trash. So another film starring a young girl, another horror film released this year to, I'd say, rave reviews, starring uh, a young girl as the one of the main characters. I guess in this one, she's not necessarily the bad guy. She's upset that her dad doesn't want to play with her anymore. It's really like I guess we live in a time where um, because shit like that, I guess, can draw a mass appeal. And also, I guess that what the point of that is there's a lot of male kids who have father issues, even when the father is at home or whatever, like that feeling of daddy's never here. So I guess that that's something that, and it's like, even though it's quite a light-hearted horror film, it's still sort of like sort of pulls at your heartstrings at the bit where they are, probably spoiler alert, but at the bit where they have an argument and he says, like, I can't remember what he says, like, your dad doesn't love you or some shit, like, oh, she thinks that he lives in Thailand and he goes, no, he doesn't. He lives like 10 minutes away. He just never comes around to see you. And you think, oh, that's super painful. um So yeah, like that was cool. I like the whole dynamic of her raising the pet and then the Chinese guy getting involved, and when the Chinese guy gets involved, then they feed the spider up really big and it grows to the size of that like huge fish tank. I think also it draws on like some maybe like base root fear that we have of spiders somewhere deep inside us, because yeah, like I didn't really want to watch the huge ass spider. I liked that it was fearful of like the mothballs, right? Like the which are rat repellent. Reading up about mothballs though, rats actually don't give a shit about them. I read that they don't like the smell of them, but that once they get used to the smell of them, they don't really care. So, but as we don't really have mothballs over here. I mean, you get rats in some houses, man. You just have to get a dog or a cat, you know. Um, you see rats running around in the street in the city centre reasonably often, more so than you would like. Um, which, seeing as I've fallen to sleep in those streets, is not a comforting thought, really. Um, yeah, I mean, all in all, I thought I thought it was cool. The use of like the tunnel system, there was enough. It was like there was a lot of comedy in there, but there was also like the movement of the bodies when the spider was dragging the bodies looked super cool. And again, like I guess what a lot of horror is it's drawing on your on fears within your DNA a lot of the time. Fears of the dark. We have a fear of the dark because shit used to come and eat us in the dark right before we got round to creating fire. Um, like and that I was thinking that sort of like jerky movement of the bodies being dragged. I thought like that must be some sort of fear. Maybe that's something a fear that we have back in the day of like wolves and bears and shit like dragging our loved ones away. Um, but yeah, like I thought it was cool. I thought it was like well acted for a comedy horror. Do you know what I mean? I like the characters. I like the Chinese guy upstairs. I like the old women. I like the mum and the dad. It's rare to see a film where all of the characters come off really well, but not come off really well. Even like the bad characters, I was like, not that they were necessarily believable, but like, it was just an enjoyable film to watch, I guess. Something in stark contrast to Abigail, something that I would rewatch. Probably not rewatch on my own, but if somebody, I don't think that there was anything in there that would make me want to rewatch it on its own. But if somebody was round, if I was hanging out with somebody and they enjoyed horror, I would suggest it. Um, if they hadn't seen it before. So like, yeah, the whole comic book, the illustration thing, I thought was cool. That was maybe the bit that was a little bit played out. A lot of it was cheesy. Do you know what I mean? The whole idea of like, but cheesy at the same time as like, I reckon a 12-year-old would have really enjoyed it. And I guess it just depends what you want from a film. Um, I just found it pretty enjoyable, I guess. Trying to think if there was anything else. Yeah, I thought shot well. The people that did like the mum and the dad maybe were the mum was maybe a little bit the mum was maybe a little bit too ham. However, um, I don't think it destroyed the film. And if anything, when you start a film and you think it's about a giant spider, do you know what I mean? And it's about raising a pet giant spider. You sort of think like it's going to go down that territory of B movie shit. So like you do just um you anticipate that that's where it's going to go. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so I'd say that that is my review of Sting, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was good. Wait. I guess the other stuff that Sting brings up in my mind is that wrestler in the mask. And I guess that like that's maybe I guess the whole allegory is quite good of a young girl feeding a spider to the point where like what even when it was small it was creeping out of the jar and not letting her know that it was still in, not letting her know that it had creeped out of the jar and it started murdering parrots, right? Then after murdering parrots it started murdering bigger and bigger until it murdered everything in the block of flats. And including nearly her whole family and the exterminator. And you would say, yeah, and the imagery that's conjured up from the title. Do you know what I mean? Um, Man in a mask, creeping around the ventilation shafts, and dragging people away in the shadows to their death. I thought it was decent for sure. But yeah, that's all from me on that one. That was good.